Jason Statham boarded the flight quietly, wearing his usual calm expression, one that barely ever wavered, even under pressure. Clad in his signature black tee and jeans, he walked down the jet bridge, nodding politely at the flight crew, his presence as subtle as it was commanding. No entourage, no loud fuss, just him, his carry-on bag, and a silver cross necklace that hung just above his chest. Most passengers didn't notice him at first. The flight was from Los Angeles to London, and the first-class cabin was full of well-dressed professionals, influencers, and a few lucky vacationers. But once he settled into seat 1A, heads began to turn. Whispers traveled faster than turbulence. Was that really Jason Statham? For the first few minutes, everything was smooth. The cabin crew offered champagne and pre-flight towels. Jason nodded, thanked them, and kept to himself, flipping through a script he had tucked into his carry-on. It was just another flight. Or so he thought. A few rows behind him, a newly promoted flight attendant named Erica noticed the murmurs and the occasional phone sneaking a photo. Curious, she stepped forward to confirm what the passengers were whispering. Her eyes landed on Jason, and then something else caught her attention. The silver cross around his neck. She narrowed her eyes, but said nothing. At least not yet. 20 minutes into the flight, as the plane cruised above the Atlantic, Erica approached Jason's seat with a tray of refreshments. He looked up politely and thanked her, reaching for the glass of water. But instead of walking away, she lingered. "Sir," she said with a tight smile, "I need to ask you about your necklace." Jason blinked, slightly confused. "My necklace?" "Yes," she replied. "Some passengers have raised concerns. It's potentially offensive." Jason stared at her, unsure if she was joking. "It's a cross. A Christian cross." "I understand," Erica replied. "But airline policy states that items with potentially provocative religious symbolism should be covered or removed to maintain a neutral environment. I'm going to have to ask you to take it off." For a moment, silence blanketed the cabin. Even passengers who weren't paying attention turned their heads. Jason kept his voice even. "Ma'am, with respect, I've worn this necklace for over 20 years. It's never been a problem before." "I'm not debating your past experiences," she said sharply. "I'm enforcing the airline's current policy." Jason leaned back slightly. "And if I refuse?" Her expression hardened. "Then I'll have to escalate this. We may need to make an emergency landing." A low murmur rolled through first class. Some passengers looked incredulous. Others looked uncomfortable. But Erica stood firm, eyes locked on the necklace like it was a weapon. Jason took a breath, his jaw tight. "You're willing to delay this entire flight, because of a cross?" "It's not personal," she said. "It's about consistency in policy." He looked around. The faces staring at him were a mix of disbelief and curiosity. He glanced back at her and calmly said, "Do what you have to do." Erica walked briskly toward the cockpit, leaving Jason seated in silence. 15 minutes later, the captain made an announcement. Due to a security concern, the plane would be turning back to New York for further assessment. Audible groans echoed through the cabin. A woman in seat 3D said aloud, "Are you serious? Over a necklace?" Back on the ground, uniformed personnel boarded the plane. Passengers were instructed to remain seated as Jason was quietly asked to disembark. He complied without argument, his face unreadable, cross still hanging proudly from his neck. News of the incident spread within hours. Passengers who witnessed the confrontation uploaded clips and commentary online. The story took on a life of its own. Twitter exploded. Headlines read, "Jason Statham removed from flight over cross necklace." Public opinion was swift and unforgiving. People called it an overreach. A violation of personal freedom. Others called it a misunderstanding gone horribly wrong. But regardless of where people stood, one thing was clear, the airline had a PR disaster on its hands. Within 24 hours, the airline issued a public statement, vague, overly polished, and careful not to name names. But passengers weren't having it. Eyewitnesses flooded comment sections, defending Jason's calm demeanor and condemning the airline's zero-tolerance interpretation of its own rules. The backlash grew. Protesters stood outside the airline's headquarters. Petitions called for Erica's termination. And though she was placed on administrative leave, the damage to her reputation was already done. Meanwhile, Jason remained silent. No interviews. No statements. Just a single Instagram post 3 days later, a close-up photo of the necklace, resting on a wooden table. The caption read, "I don't wear this for show. I wear it for strength." The post garnered millions of likes and comments within hours. Celebrities, athletes, and even faith leaders chimed in, praising his composure and criticizing the airline's handling of the situation. Some airlines even released statements reaffirming their support for religious expression on board. And then came the twist. A week later, Erica appeared on a daytime talk show, visibly emotional. She explained that she hadn't meant to offend, that she was simply following a directive from a senior supervisor who had told her to keep first class neutral. She claimed she was the scapegoat for a broader company culture that was rigid, tone-deaf, and increasingly disconnected from passengers' realities. Her confession sparked a second wave of outrage, but this time, directed higher up the corporate ladder. Investigations began. The supervisor